In a previous video on function, we have seen how to declare a function and how to call a function. In this video, we will show you how to use default function parameters, which are very useful features that can make your code more concise and flexible. In addition, we will be looking at different ways we can call a function. At the end of the video, you will be able to call a function using positional and keyword arguments. Let's consider the function feet2meters that take two int parameters, one for the number of feet and one for the number of inches. The function returns the measurement in meters. Let's call the function with two int values for argument, 5 and 9. Here, the given argument will be matched to the formal argument in the function definition by using their position. 5 is the first argument and it will be matched to feet, the first formal argument in the function definition. 9 is the second argument and it will be matched to inches. The formal arguments are assigned, the value passed in the parameter, and the body of the function is executed with these two values. Once the expression is evaluated, the result is returned and displayed on the console. If we call the same function but change the order of the value passed in the parameter, we obtain a different result. In this case, the number of feet is 9 and the number of inches is 5. We can also call a function using keyword arguments matching. That is, we use the name of the parameter in the function call. Here, we use the keyword feet and the keyword inches and assign them a value within the call. When executing the function, the value 5 will be assigned to the formal parameter feet and the value 9 to the formal parameter inches. But what happens when we reverse the order of the argument in the function call? The position does not matter, only the keywords. So 9 is a match to inches and 5 to feet. We have the same result as the previous function call. One thing that is important to remember is that using a keyword that is not part of the formal arguments raises an error. For example, trying to call the function with the keyword yard raises a type error. Feet2meters got an unexpected keyword argument yards. Default function parameters are parameters that have a default value assigned to them, so that if you don't pass an argument to them when you call the function, they will use the default value instead. Now, let's say we want to make the function feet2meters more versatile by assigning a default value of 0 for the parameter inches. The inches parameters has a default value of 0, which means that if we don't pass an argument for it when we call the function, it will use 0 as a number of inches. Notice how the default parameters is displayed below the object function on the right-hand side of the simulation. For example, when calling feet2meter 5, 9, the default value is replaced by the argument passed in the function call, that is, by the value 9. Then the body of the function is executed, returning a value of 1.75. As you can see on line 10, we can call the function with one argument, feet, and it will use the default value for the number of inches. Obviously, we can also pass explicitly the second argument, inches, with the default value 0. Default function parameters are very handy when you want to make your function more flexible and avoid repeating yourself. You can have as many default parameters as you want, as long as they are at the end of the parameter list. For example, the function takes three parameters, mile, yards, and meters, and returns the corresponding distance in meter if the parameter meter is true, in kilometer otherwise. The yards and meter parameters have default values, which means that if we don't pass argument for them when we call the function, they will use them as their values. For example, calling imperial distance to metric with only one parameter, 1, returns 1600. That is the distance of 1 mile in meters. Calling imperial distance to metric with two parameters, 2 and 800, returns 3920. That is the distance of 2 miles and 800 yards in meters. Finally, calling imperial distance to metric with 3 parameters, 2, 800 and false, returns 3.92, that is the distance of 2 miles and 800 yards in kilometers. As you can see, we can call the function with 1, 2 or 3 arguments, and it will work as expected. We can also mix positional and keyword arguments. However, you must be careful when mixing positional and keyword arguments. Positional parameters must be declared first and then followed by keyword arguments. Failing to do so will result in a syntax error. To illustrate the many ways we can call a function having default parameters, let's refactor our function imperial distance to metric. In this example, we can have the return value expressed in kilometers, or meters, or millimeters, depending on the value of the parameter unit. If we want to convert 2 miles in meters, we just call imperial distance to metric with only one parameter, 2. If we want to convert 500 yards in meters, we just call imperial distance to metric yards equal 2. If we want to convert 500 yards in kilometers, we must call imperial distance to metric yards equal 500, unit equal kilometers. What we cannot do is imperial distance to metric 500, kilometers. This will cause a type error, as positional argument is used in the function call. Therefore, the argument 500 is assigned to miles, and kilometers is assigned to yards. The product on line 5 will cause an error. Trying to call the function imperial distance to metric yards equal 500, kilometers will cause a syntax error, as positional argument, the kilometer, follows a keyword argument, the yards. If we want to convert 2 miles in kilometers, we could call imperial distance to metric 2, unit equal kilometers. However, to improve the readability of your code, it is recommended to use imperial distance to metric miles equal 2, unit equal kilometers instead. Now that you have seen how to define default parameters and call a function using positional and keyword argument, you will be able to write more readable, concise, and flexible codes. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.